I was born with a magnet for busty cougars. Every 10 steps I take, some busty girl latches onto me, and all of them want me to be their boyfriend. Ever since you traveled to this raunchy doujin world, you've been forced to hang out with these older women every day. At that moment, your childhood sweetheart's mom, Baiji, was cleaning the front door in loose loungewear. Doing the front yard cleaning? Yet she somehow made that baggy outfit look like a skin-tight top. You could tell how massive her curves were underneath that clothes. Oh my, it's Xing Xing. You're out the door so early today. That school uniform looks really sharp on you. Baiji stopped what she was doing and greeted me warmly. Good morning, Aunt Baiji. Is Bai Xiaoyi home? When I mentioned her daughter, Baiji sighed and rubbed her temples. That rebellious daughter of mine. If only she were half as well behaved as Xing Xing. Bai Xiaoyi, are you ready yet? Xing Xing's already waiting for you. Hurry up! You'll be late for school. Baiji turned around and yelled up to the second floor of her house. Coming! A crisp, high-pitched voice echoed down from the second floor. Even though I couldn't see the owner of the voice, just from the sound of it, she must be a mischievous little beauty. A tiny figure darted over like a gust of wind and threw herself into my arms, nuzzling against me like a cuddly kitten. Yay, Xing Xing! We're going to the same school starting today. I'm so happy. The two of us grew up together. Total childhood sweethearts. Although as she grew up, Bai Xiaoyi's personality changed a bit. The one thing that never changed was how clingy she was. Though she only clings to me, not even her own mom Bai Jai gets this treatment. Baichi has joked about it many times. You haven't even married into the family yet, and you're already siding with him. Once you've got your boyfriend, you forget your own mom. As for how I feel about Bai Xiaoyi, I've always seen her as just the cute girl next door. But she's been attached to me since we were kids, especially when it comes to physical affection. So over time, I just got used to it. Oh my, if you two keep acting all lovey-dovey, you really will be late for school. Baiji called out, reminding me and her daughter, all right, you old hag. Bai Xiaoyi stuck her tongue out at her mom, clearly annoyed that her mom had interrupted their moment, ruining the vibe between her and me. Then she switched to a cute, innocent expression, turned to me and said, let's go. Aunt Baiji. We're off then. Looking at Bai Jai's darkening face, I knew if we didn't leave soon, we'd be witnessing the 1079th mother-daughter brawl. So I quickly grabbed Bai Xiaoyi's hand and waved goodbye. After all, I'd seen firsthand how terrifying their verbal sparring matches could get. Absolutely brutal. As the two of us walked away, our figures getting smaller, Baida finally lowered her waving hand. Then she shifted her body uncomfortably. A moment later, a shiver of electricity shot through her whole body. She trembled slightly. Whew. Baijie let out a long, contented sigh. A faint blush spread across her fair cheeks. Gone was the gentle, virtuous look from just a moment ago. Xing Xing is getting more and more handsome. Just being near him, listening to his voice, makes my body... Baiji thought to herself, her mind wandering. It was like a foodie laying eyes on the most delicious dish in the world. Sorry, honey. My daughter. Looks like mom's gonna have to be your love rival. The subway was packed like sardines during rush hour, crammed with office workers and students alike. I held onto the overhead handrail with one hand and read a novel on my phone with the other, while Bai Xiaoyi clung tightly to my waist with her arms, eyes closed, fast asleep. She clearly wasn't used to waking up early on the first day of school. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. I still remembered when we first entered junior high. It was the first time I'd become aware of the difference between boys and girls. So I'd put my foot down and stopped all physical contact with her. During that period when I refused to touch her, Bai Xiaoyi's mental state had completely spiraled out of control. Tantrums, crying jags, and throwing things had become daily occurrences, and things had gotten even worse once. She'd even resorted to hurting herself. Luckily, we'd found her in time and gotten her emergency treatment. If we'd been an hour later, this cute, delicate beauty standing in front of me now wouldn't even exist. Later, the doctor had told us that Bai Xiaoyi was suffering from a condition called skin hunger. It was a type of psychological disorder. When an episode hits, the person craves physical contact with someone close to them, desperately needing skin-to-skin or bodily contact. Like a flower deprived of water, if it doesn't get nourishment in time, it will wither and die. I was totally absorbed in my novel when I suddenly felt someone touch my butt. I glanced at the sleeping Bai Xiaoyi, confirming that her hands were still wrapped tightly around my waist. It couldn't have been her. Was it a pickpocket? I turned around to glance behind me. On the seats behind me, there was nothing but a row of office ladies, dressed in business suits and black stockings, No one looked suspicious at all. I shrugged it off and turned my attention back to the novel's plot, getting back to enjoying my reading. There it was again. This time the touch felt really distinct. I was sure it wasn't my imagination. I turned around again and scanned the area carefully. The group of office ladies on the seats were all between 20 and 30 years old. Most of them had their eyes closed, resting, and the prettiest one among them was sitting directly behind me. She was wearing a tight-fitting OL suit and a pencil skirt. Her long, slender legs, covered in black pantyhose, stockings. On her feet were shiny patent leather stiletto heels. From head to toe, she exuded a classic office lady allure. At that moment, she was holding her phone, seemingly replying to some messages. Looking at this lady, Miss Oh-young, I couldn't for the life of me picture her as some kind of pervert. It was probably just someone brushing past me accidentally. I reassured myself silently, then went back to reading my novel, though this time I kept a little part of my attention, sharply focused on my surroundings. A little while passed. The subway was approaching our school stop. I thought we'd gotten through the ride without any more incidents, when that sneaky hand attacked my butt again. But this time I didn't turn around right away. Instead, I counted to 3 in my head, then spun around lightning fast and grabbed that wandering hand right on my butt. I'd show whoever this was. How dare they, in broad daylight, to do something so indecent and shameless. A beautiful female voice let out a startled gasp, clearly caught off guard by my sudden move. She jumped in surprise. I froze instantly. The words I was about to shout died in my throat, because this pervert was none other than the lady in black stockings who'd been sitting right behind me this whole time. That office lady, right now her fair face and beautiful eyes were filled with panic. After dodging my gaze for a second, she wrenched her hand free from my grip and fled to the next car like she was running for her life. Wait a minute, get back here! Once I snapped out of it, I hurried to chase after her. But with Bai Xiaoyi clinging so tightly to me, I couldn't move easily. Plus, the subway announcement had already called our stop, so I had no choice but to give up, frustrated. Be good, your classroom's on the first floor. Mine's on the second. It can't be helped, so stop being such a little brat about it, like a warm-hearted big brother. I patiently explained to Bai Xiaoyi, fine then. Bai Xiaoyi's voice and expression were both filled with dejection, but then it was like she suddenly remembered something. Her jewel-like big eyes darted around mischievously in their sockets. Then she suddenly pounced at me, into my arms, a whiff of fragrance trailing her, taking a big, deep whiff of my scent. Hey! Bai Xiaoyi, didn't I tell you we can't do this at school? I don't care. I can't stand being away from Sing Sing for so long. Really can't. So this is my recharge time. After nuzzling playfully in my arms for a bit, she hopped back to her own classroom, like a little bunny. When I got back to my classroom, I glanced around to check the seat assignments. The desk in front of me was still empty for now, and sitting right behind me was a girl with long black straight hair, dressed in a red JK uniform and black pantyhose. I looked at her, nodded politely, and smiled in greeting. Hi there, my name's Xing Xing. We were in the same class during our first year of high school. Do you still remember me? But Liu Ruyan just kept smiling at me, as if that smile was her only response. It was clear she had no intention of continuing the conversation, so I had the good sense to turn back around. Just then, a cold gaze shot at me from my right side, even though I didn't meet the owner of that gaze. That chill was definitely conveyed through that stare, sending an involuntary shiver down my spine. Li Xia, one of the top beauties on Kaicheng Private High School's campus beauty list, and also our class monitor during first year. This straight A student, this ice-cold beauty, was now staring coldly at me with her beautiful watery eyes, her gaze piercing, like she wanted to freeze me solid. As for the history between us two, it all started with last year's first-year exams. I always ranked first in the class, while Li Xia was always second. Never would I have thought that after the class reshuffle in second year, this ice beauty would end up sitting right next to me on my right. Well, great. From now on, I'll never have to worry about sweltering heat anymore. I've got a human walking air conditioner right next to me. Silence, everyone! Return to your seats immediately. Along with the crisp clacking sound of high heels, a curvy, mature woman slowly walked up to the podium. The noisy classroom instantly fell completely silent. Only the heavy breathing of some of the boys lingered in the air. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zhongbian Mingmei. I'm 36 years old, and I'll be your new homeroom teacher this semester. I'm also your main biology teacher. You can call me Teacher Mingmei. Holy cow, this stunningly dressed woman is actually our new homeroom teacher. Who's going to be able to focus on class from now on? The boys in the class didn't scream out in excitement, but their facial expressions clearly showed they were barely holding back their joy. All right, let's move on to the roll call. When I call your name, please stand up and respond, so I can put a face to the name. Xing Jing! Here, I stood up and replied. Even though I'd been called, I still kept my head down, not daring to look at Teacher Mingmei. After all, this teacher who was around my mom's age was dressed way too eye-catching. Teacher Mingmei didn't call the next student right away. Instead, she adjusted her black-rimmed glasses, narrowed her seductive eyes slightly, and sized me up from head to toe. I had no idea what was going on. I just felt a gaze lingering on my face and body, like I was a piece of prey. Student Sing Sing, right? I'll remember you. You may sit down. Yes, ma'am. I finally made it back to my seat in relief. What I didn't notice was the corners of Teacher Mingmei's lush red lips slowly curled up into a strange smile. All right. Except for 3 students who have special circumstances and aren't here, everyone else is present. Get yourselves ready. Line up and walk in an orderly manner to the school's indoor gymnasium to attend the school-wide opening ceremony. Kaicheng Private High School used to be a famous private girls' school. Even though it started admitting male students in the past 2 years, the school still maintains a student body that's mostly female. Xing Xing, Xing Xing, Xing Xing. Wait, did someone just call my name? I looked around, following the sound. Sure enough, I spotted the source of the voice. In a line not far away, Xing Xing, Xing Xing. When Bai Xiaoyi saw that I'd locked eyes with her, she waved at me even more excitedly. If it weren't for the teachers keeping order nearby, she would have almost jumped for joy. And in the first-year students' line, there was another girl standing next to Bai Xiaoyi. Dressed in a Lolita dress, she also looked over in my direction, following Bai Xiaoyi's gaze, seemingly curious about who this person was. That could make Bai Xiaoyi this excited. She followed Bai Xiaoyi's line of sight and found me, and the moment she got a clear look at me, a warm current suddenly washed over her entire body. Her mind went completely blank. It was like the only thing left in her eyes was this guy's figure. It was a feeling like being wrapped in soft silk, like her whole body was immersed in a sea of comfort. A faint, unnatural flush risen on her fair, delicate skin. Her legs, covered in smooth white stockings, went weak involuntarily. It was like something inside her was slowly waking up. After exchanging a quick greeting with Bai Xiaoyi, I turned my attention back to the stage. After a few student and teacher representatives gave their speeches in turn, it was time for an elderly man with dim eyes to take the stage. This old man, who looked like he might keel over at any second, was the vice principal of Kaicheng Private High School. He now opened his mouth full of false teeth and said tremblingly, "Next, I'll announce the arrangements for the school-wide cleaning. Since the first-year students did it last year, this year the second-year students will be fully responsible for it." Damn it! The second-year students present immediately erupted in an uproar. They never would have thought this is how the year would start. If that's the case, wouldn't we have to do the school-wide cleaning again next year too? My apologies, everyone. Dear students, the vice principal is getting on in years. I'll re-announce the arrangements from here on out. A tall, beautiful woman swayed her slender waist and walked gracefully onto the stage. Taking the microphone from the vice principal's hand, it was none other than the school principal, Caroline, a mixed-race woman with foreign ancestry. Standing at over 2 meters tall, coupled with her fit and curvy figure, she reminded me involuntarily of the Busty lady from the bus. From the moment she stepped onto the stage, she was the center of attention. Every boy in the school had his eyes glued to her, like magnets drawn to metal, blood rushing to their noses one after another. After Principal Caroline finished her speech, I followed the line back to my classroom. Then we voted as a class to elect the class cadres for this semester. Licia, still the most popular, was re-elected as monitor. Meanwhile, on the top floor of the school's administrative building, in a huge office with a principal's office nameplate on the door, Principal Caroline, resting her patent leather, thigh-high, boots-clad left leg on her right, leaned back against a soft, spacious sofa, flipping through the student files on the desk. Because of her exceptionally tall and large frame, the originally soft sofa cushion was indented deeply by her ample hips. "Interesting," she murmured. 2 words dripping with implication fell from Caroline's red lips. She stood up, placed the student files back on the desk, then strode out of the principal's office, her curvy legs wrapped in thigh-high boots, and the soft sofa finally seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, bouncing back slightly. But after being subjected to the constant pressure of that huge posterior for so long, it would probably never return to its original shape. Just then, a gentle breeze blew in through the window, ruffling the corner of the student files that had just been placed on the desk. And on top of that stack of files lay the paper with my photo on it, quietly. Wait, what's that under the back pocket of my pants? I reached down to feel the surface of my chair. Sure enough, when I pulled the thing out of my pocket, I found it was a little crumpled piece of paper. Curious, I unfolded the paper ball. My pupils constricted sharply the instant I saw what was written. There on the slip of paper were 4 large, clear characters. Thanks for the treat. In an instant, I thought of that office lady in black stockings from the subway this morning. That OL woman. I was so angry I could have frosted over. How dare this woman be so arrogant? Not only did she take advantage of me multiple times, she even left a note to brag about it. If I ever run into her again, I'm definitely going to catch her red-handed. I thought to myself, making a silent vow. Clatter. It was the sound of a pen dropping to the floor. I'd been so shocked just now that I'd accidentally knocked my pen off the desk. The pen was rolling slowly toward a pair of black lace-up leather shoes and stopped after hitting the sole, right next to the feet of the girl with long, straight black hair sitting behind me. Liu Ruyan. I glanced at the bald math teacher on the podium, who was still doodling away on the blackboard with great relish, then bent down to pick up the pen. But it was just too far to reach, so I had to squat down to grab it. The space under the desk was super cramped. The moment my fingers touched the pen, I caught an eyeful of something unexpected. Liu Ruyan seemed to be drawn to the noise, her eyes fixed on me from above, looking down under the desk. I sensed her gaze, and was about to look up and give her an apologetic glance, when something unforgettable caught my eye. I was so shocked. I couldn't even speak. I froze halfway to standing up. Never in a million years did I expect that this little mishap of picking up a pen would lead me to stumble upon Liu Ruyan's secret. Xing Xing? What's going on over there? The math teacher's voice rang out, sounding curious, from the front of the classroom. He must have heard the thud when my head hit the desk. Oh, sorry. I was just picking up my pen, sir. I scrambled to my feet and got back to my seat, waving the pen in my hand, to explain. All right then. Pay attention in class, okay? All right, class. Let's move on to the next problem. I let out a sigh of relief, but my heart was still pounding like crazy. Never would I have guessed that the seemingly quiet Liu Ruyan had such a little quirk. Wait, could I have just imagined it? But that thought was quickly shot down. My eyesight has been perfect since I was a kid, 20/20 vision, plus what I saw just now was way too eye-popping. It seared into my brain forever. I get it now. She must have been in such a rush this morning that she totally forgot. I mean, when I was little, I once forgot to put on my underwear too. Should I apologize to her? After all, I just saw everything she was trying to hide. Wait a second. She didn't even scream or anything. A normal girl would have yelled her head off in that situation, right? Could it be she didn't even realize what was going on? I tossed and turned the question over in my mind. Should I tell her or not? We're classmates, after all. Front and back desk neighbors. I feel like it's my duty to let her know. Otherwise, if someone else sees it by accident, she'll get the wrong end of the stick. Rumors could destroy her reputation. She might fall into a deep depression and even lose the will to live. But then again, if she doesn't know about it, and I go and tell her, that'll just prove I saw everything. It'd be a total confession. Then she'll definitely think I'm some kind of pervert. No way, absolutely not. This is so stressful. I'm stuck in a total dilemma. My mind's going back and forth like crazy. I still haven't gotten over what happened on the subway this morning. And now this Liu Ruyan incident just drops out of nowhere. Why does my first day of school feel like it's spiraling into something weird? After a quick internal debate, I figure I need to double check, just to make sure I didn't missee it. So I pretend to knock my eraser off the desk and duck back under again. But this time, Liu Ruyan doesn't give me the chance. I come up empty-handed and finally decide that silence is the best policy. After all, this is about something super private for her. I can only pray she figures it out soon. What I don't notice is that Liu Ruyan's smile has long since faded from her face, replaced by a dazed, entranced look. A faint, unnatural flush tints her fair cheeks and glimmers in her eyes. Her hands are busy practicing that so-called water magic trick. She murmurs something under her breath. She slowly closes her beautiful eyes. A 36-year-old widow with that mature charm asks you to marry her. Your childhood friend who grew up with you wants you to be her boyfriend. The school principal, a gorgeous lady who looks just like Lady Dimitrescu, gives you the whole school just to get a private meeting with you. All because you're born with a magnetism that attracts busty, infatuated women. You can't walk 100 steps without getting tangled up with one of them. And just now, on your very first day of high school, before you've even done anything, 5 of these infatuated women have already set their sights on you. Now it's lunchtime. You're about to head to the cafeteria with your new friend, but as soon as the two of you reach the door, you see a huge crowd gathered there. In the middle of the crowd stands a beautiful girl with short blue hair. Her skin is as white as snow, and she has a tiny, delicate face like a porcelain doll. It's none other than Bai Xiaoyi. Xing Xing! Xing Xing! Bai Xiaoyi had been scowling at all the people staring at her, but the second she spots you, her face lights up with a huge smile. She bounces over to you, ready to throw herself into your arms, until you shoot her a sharp warning look that stops her from clinging to you in public. Instead, she stands obediently by your side. Xingxing, what's going on here? Jibota's eyes go wide, staring at the famous younger student, who just ran over to stand next to you. Acting all chummy with you, he stammers out the question that's been bugging him. Her family lives next to mine. We grew up together, so we've known each other forever. Jibota's eyes light up with realization. He fixes his spiky hairstyle and turns to introduce himself to Bai Xiaoyi, even making his voice sound deeper on purpose. Hey there, little junior. I'm Jibota, Xingxing's friend. You can just call me Brother Boda. And just so you know, your brother here is single. Jibota flips his bangs, striking what he thinks is a super cool pose, like he's got a spotlight shining on him. But the whole time, Bai Xiaoyi's eyes are glued to your face, completely ignoring the annoying fly buzzing beside you. The 3 of you find a corner seat against the wall. You and Jibota sit on one side, leaning against the wall, and Bai Xiaoyi sits across from you with a pout on her face. And every now and then, she shoots daggers at Jibota with her eyes. Jibota! In her mind, if it weren't for this meddling fly, she'd be snuggled up right next to you by now, wrapping one arm around yours, and feeding you bites of food with her mouth. It's all this fly's fault. She's so mad she can't even eat. But in Jibota's head, the scene plays out totally differently. He thinks this shy junior is totally crushing on him, staring at him with those lovesick eyes, so completely mesmerized that she can't even bring herself to eat. She can't even bring herself to eat the food in front of her. Jibota, you're such a heartbreaker. You take a bite of your bread, glance at Jibota on your left, who's lost in his own little fantasy world. Then look across at Bai Xiaoyi, who's practically radiating black aura of resentment behind her, and let out a helpless sigh. Why does it feel like Bai Xiaoyi is clinging to you more than usual today? More than usual? Sure, Bai Xiaoyi has always had that thing called skin hunger syndrome, but after years of treatment, her symptoms have gotten a lot better. Before, a pat on the head or a quick hug every now and then was enough to satisfy her. She's never been like this before, begging for physical contact multiple times in just one morning. Could it be her condition has flared up again and gotten worse? If that's the case, then I'm in big trouble. After all, I can't exactly stick by Bai Xiaoyi's side 24/7. Just as you're wondering if Bai Xiaoyi's condition has really taken a turn for the worse, you suddenly let out a gasp. What's wrong with you? Xingxing, you totally scared me just now. Jibota asks you, looking confused. Nothing. I just suddenly remembered I forgot my keys. But Mom should be home by the time school ends, so it's fine. Oh, okay, then Jibota shrugs it off and goes back to daydreaming in his own little world, occasionally letting out a weird chuckle under his breath. But the truth is, it was definitely not what I just made up. The reason I suddenly gasped was that something had appeared under the table out of nowhere. An object, and given the time and place, there was only one suspect in this little prank. The one and only Bai Xiaoyi sitting right across from me. I stared at her in shock, that girl resting her chin on her tiny hands. Never in a million years would I have thought that my usual next-door neighbor girl, my childhood sweetheart, mischievous as she was, yet always so well-behaved whenever she was with me, would pull a stunt like this. In a crowded corner of the cafeteria, once she finally had my undivided attention, A little devilish grin tugged at the corners of Bai Xiaoyi's fair, pretty face. I was left speechless all over again. Are you really okay? Xing Xing? You look like you're breaking into a cold sweat. Shibota shot me another concerned glance, wondering why I'd been so jumpy all day. Yeah, I'm fine. I must have gotten some sand in this bite of bread. It totally made my teeth ache. All good now, though. I laughed it off, still beating around the bush. Because let's be real. If I'd yelled at her to cut it out right then and there, well, it would have drawn Jibota's and everyone else's attention in a heartbeat. And once that happened, there was no way I could talk my way out of it. With that thought in mind, I tried to stop Bai Xiaoyi from continuing her mischief, and shot her a sharp glare, warning her to turn over a new leaf. But the little troublemaker was far from repentant. Instead, she reached out her other hand and, well, check out the streamer's pinned video for all the juicy details. 4 p.m. School was over. Most students would head to their club activities right after class. Even Bai Xiaoyi seemed to have been dragged into joining one. But I was definitely not one of those people. As a proud member of the Go Home Immediately Club, my post-school routine was either lazing around at home reading or gaming, or working my part-time job at the convenience store downtown. And today just so happened to be my shift. So I headed straight for work. As soon as the final bell rang, Huaji Street, the busiest street in the city once night fell. You could even call it a playground for men. The convenience store where I worked was just a stone's throw away from Huaji Street, a prime location in every sense of the word. And the reason I chose to work here was obviously because the pay was amazing. I walked through a narrow alley like I always did. Tall buildings loomed on both sides, blocking out most of the light, making the alley dim and murky. Suddenly, I spotted a blurry figure up ahead. Judging by the curvy silhouette, it had to be a woman. I immediately adjusted my posture, pressing my back against the wall as I kept moving forward. It was the only way we'd be able to squeeze past each other in the tight space. As we got closer, I gradually made out the woman's appearance. She had on a pair of black leather thigh-high boots, and from her thighs to her waist, she was wearing a pair of sleek low-rise jeans. I was still marveling at her quirky outfit when the woman noticed me too, and flashed me a seductive smile. The woman in thigh-high boots and jeans leaned lazily against the alley wall, then stuck out one long leg, blocking my path. Not only did she show no signs of moving, she actually stood her ground, staring straight at me. Confusion flooded my mind. "Excuse me, ma'am. Could you please step aside a little? Otherwise, neither of us can get through." But the woman in jeans just kept smiling that spine-tingling, seductive smile without saying a word. Instead, she made a really weird gesture. First, she held up 2 fingers, her nicely manicured digits. I just stared at her, confused. Then she bent them into an OK sign. Wait, what's going on here? What does OK mean? I stared at the woman in total bewilderment. Did I run into some kind of nutcase? The woman in jeans watched as I went from shocked to looking somewhat pitying, and she started wondering too. Could he be a virgin? Judging by his looks and clothes. He was definitely a high school student. Guess my little hint wasn't obvious enough. The woman's face lit up with realization. Then her seductive smile grew even wider. She held up 5 fingers, and then started clapping her hands. Wait, a high five? I was totally dumbfounded, but the woman just wouldn't give up. She frowned slightly, then changed the 5 fingers to 4. I was completely lost. Now the woman was starting to get a little embarrassed, but after a moment's hesitation, she reluctantly changed the 4 fingers to 3 and shot me a warning look, like she was saying, "Don't push your luck. This is my final offer." I decided I wasn't going to waste any more time with this woman. My shift was starting soon after all, so I ignored her and tried to squeeze past her through the gap. But just as we were about to brush shoulders, she suddenly pinned me against the wall. We were so close. I could even feel her sweet breath on my face. Hey, what are you doing? I gasped in shock, obviously startled by her bold move. Hey, little brother. Don't you want to have some fun with your sister? The woman in jeans leaned in and whispered in my ear, her breath warm against my skin, her voice dripping with seduction. Even if I was naive, I knew exactly what kind of situation I was in. I never thought I'd run into something like this. Sis, I don't have any money. I turned my face away, avoiding her gaze, while figuring out how to make a run for it. Little brother, you're such a handsome young man. Sister won't charge you a dime today. In fact, I might even give you a big red envelope as a bonus. I took a deep breath, and when I saw my chance, I summoned all my strength and bolted toward the alley exit. But luck wasn't on my side. I'd barely run a few meters when a slender arm suddenly grabbed me by the ankle. "Hi there." "Welcome. What can I get for you?" A convenience store clerk greeted me warmly as I stumbled through the door. This clerk was dressed in a black leather jacket with striking white hair, a bold contrast. "Oh, it's Senior Xing Xing." That's rare. I never thought I'd see Senior Xing Xing show up late, under Liju's gaze. I stumbled in, one hand on my waist, and the other braced against the wall. Liju, even though her style and makeup leaned toward the mature side. She was actually a year younger than my childhood sweetheart Bai Xiaoyi. She was my junior at work. From our previous chats, I'd learned that Liju's parents had passed away in an accident when she was little. After that, she'd lived with her grandmother ever since. Without any parental guidance, she'd dropped out of school before finishing junior high and gone out into the world to fend for herself. So compared to girls her age, her personality and style were much more mature. Rumors around the store said that besides working here, some people had spotted her hanging around Huajie Street. As for what she was doing there, your guess was as good as mine. Still, we got along pretty well. After all, she was the junior I'd personally trained. Senior Xing Xing, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell? And what happened to your clothes? Lijo hurried over to support me, my face pale as a sheet, asking with genuine concern. It's nothing, Xiaozhou. I'll just rest in the break room for a bit and I'll be fine. Could you cover for me a little longer? I'm really sorry about this. Don't be silly, Senior. Go rest easy, I've got this. Leave it all to me. Lijo patted her chest confidently, being such a good sport. Say, Senior, you look like you just got mugged or something. Lijo giggled, teasing me about my disheveled state. While helping me straighten out my clothes, I sighed deeply inwardly. I had been robbed, all right. Just not of money? What was wrong with girls these days? I felt like the events of today had completely turned my worldview upside down. After a whirlwind of thoughts in my head, one word finally popped into my mind: obsessed women. Could the women I'd met today actually be obsessed women? I never thought that the kind of obsessed women only seen in manga or games actually existed in real life. And of all people, I just had to run into them. Ding dong. Conditions detected, physical constitution has been upgraded. Current level, LV2. What the hell? It's already this insane at level 2. If it gets to level 100 like the audience's tier, my life would be pure misery. Squeak, the break room door suddenly opened. A tall female figure walked in slowly. Sorry, Xiaozhou, I took longer than I expected. I'll be right out. I snapped awake the second I heard the door open. But when I looked up to see who it was, I realized it wasn't Lijo at all. It's Senior Xia. Good evening. This tall woman was none other than Xia Qiyue, the senior full-time staff member at the store. She just nodded slightly at me in acknowledgement, then clicked across the room in her black high heels, heading straight for the shelves on one side, as if she was looking for something. Senior Xia, let me help you with that. I can handle this for you. I was about to step forward to help Xia Qiyue when suddenly her foot slipped, sending her and the box she was holding tumbling backward. Senior, watch out. Thinking fast, I lunged forward and caught the falling Xia Qiyue in my arms, but the momentum was too strong. I couldn't steady myself in time and ended up tumbling to the floor with Xia Qiyue in my arms. Luckily, most of the impact had been cushioned, so neither of us got hurt. It was just the position we'd fallen into. A strong, overwhelming scent flooded my nose, filling my nostrils completely. I felt like I was suffocating, so I kept wriggling my nose, trying to break free. That was close. I almost drowned just now. Where did all that water even come from? It was like a faucet had been turned on. I lay on the floor, gasping for fresh air, my heart still pounding with fright. Once I'd caught my breath, I stood up and helped Xia Qiyue pick up the scattered items. At first, I didn't pay much attention, until I picked up one of the pink boxes from the floor and finally saw what was inside. A toy about 12 centimeters long, with the words for women printed in big characters on the box. I quickly stuffed the pink box back into the case and stole a glance at Xia Qiyue's expression. Unlike my own flustered state, Xia Qiyue's face remained calm and impassive, showing none of the shyness she should have felt. After packing everything back up, I left the break room with Xia Qiyue, then took over the cashier counter from Li Zhou. Li Shu took off her store uniform and changed into her own trendy, edgy clothes. Pairing that with her tanned skin and striking light-colored hair, her whole vibe transformed instantly, like this was her true self all along. Well then, Senior Sing Shing, I'm off now. Don't forget to miss me, okay? Thanks for your hard work, Xiaojiu. See you next time after seeing Li Zhou off. I got busy at the cashier counter. Welcome. What can I get for you? Just as I was getting ready to clock off, a familiar-looking customer walked into the store, even though she was wearing a mask and a hat. Her striking ice blue hair and graceful figure instantly reminded me of the ice-cold beauty who sat to my right in class. No way. After all, we'd been classmates for over a year. Without hesitation, the customer walked straight toward the adult section of the store. She moved with such ease and familiarity, like she'd been there many times before, and she picked out her items in record time, going back and forth in less than 3 minutes. Thud, moments later, a stack of adult comics was placed in front of me. I glanced at them quickly. Most of them were the typical aloof school goddess gets taken down by a regular student type. Aloof school goddess gets taken down by a regular student type. Hello, miss. That'll be 180 won total. I bagged up the comics and handed them to the vaguely familiar female customer. This can't be happening. Li Xia, one of the top campus beauties at Kaiching Private High School, a straight-A student, and known as the scholarly beauty, actually came to the store to buy adult comics. This was absolutely impossible. She must just be some random girl who looked similar to her. Yeah, that had to be it. I tried to convince myself. After all, so many bizarre things had happened today. My brain was practically fried. But when the blue-haired woman took the bag, I finally got a clear look at those beautiful eyes hidden under the brim of her hat, crystal-clear blue irises, with that familiar icy cold gaze. Everything about her was so recognizable. The sky grew dark, the moon bright, and the stars sparse. After work, I took the subway back to my place. Luckily, on the ride home, I didn't run into any more weird women, so I could close my eyes and relax a little. I'm home, I called out as I opened the door, kicking off my shoes as I stepped inside. Wow, brother's home. 2 tiny, adorable figures pounced on me, then clung to my legs like koalas, one on each side. Fangling, I'm home. I affectionately ruffled my 2 little sisters' hair, a warm feeling spreading through my chest. No matter how late I came home, these 2 little sisters would always wait up for me before going to bed. Sometimes when they got too sleepy, they'd curl up together on the sofa and take a quick nap. No matter how many times Mom told them not to, "Brother, did you miss us like crazy?" The little girl clinging tightly to my left leg asked in a coquettish tone, rubbing herself against my leg. Of course I did. How could I not? What about me, brother? Did you miss Lingy? At that moment, the little girl on my right leg asked the same question, vying for attention. Whether it's Feng or Ling, brother misses you both equally. Oh, right. How was your first day of school, you two? Did anything fun happen? Tell brother all about it. Feng and Ling both pouted their little pink lips at the same time, looking like a pair of poor, wronged little things. School isn't fun at all. Brother isn't there. And Mom isn't there either. Can we skip school tomorrow? Yeah. We want to stay with brother forever. We don't want to go anywhere else. We don't want to go to school ever again. I listened affectionately as my 2 adorable little sisters grumbled and complained. After all, it was their first day of elementary school. It was only natural that they weren't used to school life yet. All right, you two, stop clinging to brother. Hurry off to bed. You have to get up early for school tomorrow. A gentle, soft-spoken yet dignified voice drifted over from the kitchen. Right after the voice faded, a graceful figure carried a plate of steaming hot food and set it down on the dining table. This gorgeous lady, whose skin was as smooth and youthful as a young girl's, was none other than my mom. Michimoto Reiko. Got it? We'll go to bed right now. Good night, brother. You haven't eaten yet, have you? Mom heated up your dinner for you. Go wash your hands quickly. Come eat. You silly boy. I've told you 100 times we have enough money at home. Yet you insist on working part-time. You can't wear yourself out at your age. Even though I adopted you, you're still my child? Michimoto Reiko furrowed, her beautiful willow-like eyebrows slightly, her face filled with a mix of affection and playful scolding, and she was still a feast for the eyes. Every gesture exuded an air of classic elegance. After washing my hands thoroughly, I walked over to the dining table and sat down face-to-face with Mom. Suddenly, a blend of food aroma and a pleasant body scent drifted into my nose, making me take a few extra sniffs. It smelled like home. All right, hurry up and eat. The food will get cold soon. My stunning mom pushed a plate of golden, crispy pork cutlets right in front of me. Then she rested her chin in her hands and watched her son eat bite after bite of the meal she'd cooked, a warm sense of contentment filling her heart. I was already used to Mom's little quirks, so I gobbled down my dinner while secretly admiring her timeless beauty. As night deepened, all fell silent. I yawned loudly, slowly closed my book, then climbed contentedly into my bunk bed, ending the tiring day. Soon, soft snores filled the room. Click as the doorknob turned. A faint creak of the door echoed through my room, ringing loud and clear in the quiet night. But I was sound asleep, and didn't notice a thing. After a few seconds of silence, soft footsteps sounded as someone entered the room. The steps were light and gentle, from which I could tell the person walking wasn't wearing any shoes. She must have been tiptoeing barefoot across the floor. Beneath the hazy moonlight, a female figure with an indistinct silhouette walked straight to my bed with practiced ease, then giggled softly. While your bros are still daydreaming about just talking to a girl, you've already caught the eye of 5 busty, infatuated women, all because you're born with a magnetism for them. That's why countless busty girls are throwing themselves at you. Just now, you got home from your part-time job at the convenience store, plus the 5 girls at school who like you. You've won the affection of 9 girls on your very first day. Back home, just when you thought the day was finally over, your adoptive mom snuck into your room in the middle of the night. The next morning, when you woke up, you rubbed your sore lower back. Why does it hurt so much? Good morning, Aunt Baiji. As usual, I greeted our next-door neighbor, Baiji, Bai Xiaoyi's mom. Oh, Xing Xing, good morning. You look so handsome today, as always. Oh, right, wait a second. Auntie has something for you. Baiji put down her broom and dashed back into her house. As she ran, her movements jostled her body, causing her massive chest to bounce along with her steps. Up and down. A moment later, Baishi returned to my side, holding a small bag in her hand. Here, this is for you, Xing Xing. Eat it if you get hungry at school. Auntie's pretty confident in her baking skills. Thanks, Aunt Baija. Then I'll happily accept it. Our 2 families have been neighbors for over a decade. So when I was little, I'd often run over to Bai Xiaoyi's house for meals, and Aunt Baijai would always feed me lots of treats. Every time I'd go home with a full round belly. I took the bag of fish cakes from Baiji's smooth, fair hands, inevitably brushing my fingers against hers. Even though Baiji had been a mom for years, her skin was still as silky and smooth as ever. Aunt Baiji, your pastries look so pretty. I almost don't want to eat them. Oh my, you're still such a sweet talker, Xing Xing. It's okay, food is meant to be eaten. I'll make you more sometime. Warmth filled my heart, a warm feeling spreading through my chest. Even though Aunt Baiji wasn't my biological mom, over the years, she'd treated me no differently than her own daughter, like a kind, gentle older sister. Mom, Xing Xing, what are you 2 doing? A clear, pleasant voice rang out behind us. Bai Xiaoyi's delicate, pretty face peeked out from behind the door. Her big, beautiful eyes darted back and forth between Mom and me. We got caught. Bai Gai giggled behind her hand, making no attempt to explain. Instead, she leaned even closer to me, like a young wife standing beside her husband. I could even feel the warmth and scent of Baiji's body. Hey, Aunt Baiji. My body stiffened instantly, my heart pounding wildly. I knew Aunt Baiji was just joking around, deliberately trying to annoy Bai Xiaoyi. After all, these 2 had been bickering like cats and dogs since they were little. Instead of mother and daughter, they were more like a pair of squabbling sisters. I'd never like an old hag like you. Bai Xiaoyi ran over in a huff and threw herself at my side, wrapping her arms tightly around my left arm. Then she tilted her chin up and shot a taunting remark at her mom, like declaring war. Oh, really, Baiji? Not one to back down from her daughter. Copied her daughter's move and clung tightly to my right arm. But the 2 felt completely different. One was youthful and innocent, the other mature and alluring. One smelled like fresh green apples. The other exuded the rich, sweet scent of ripe fruit. This was pure torture for me. It was like watching gods fight, while I got caught in the crossfire. Bai Xiaoyi and Aunt Baiji each grabbed one of my arms and started pulling me in opposite directions, fighting for possession. I had a feeling that if I didn't stop them, I'd literally get torn in half. Hold on a second. Xiaoyi, Aunt Baiji, let's call it a truce for today. Otherwise, we'll miss the subway. I used a soft, gentle tone to calm the mother-daughter duo down. Then, after both of them huffed in annoyance, they finally called off their little cat fight. Baiji watched the retreating figures of her daughter and me until we disappeared from sight. Then she dropped her virtuous act and slowly brought the collar of her clothes up to her dainty nose and took a deep whiff. Ah, it smells like Xing Xing. Baiji's cheeks flushed as she wore an excited expression. She then buried her nose in every part of her clothes that had touched me, taking deep, greedy sniffs, as if trying to inhale and keep the scent before it faded into the air, to store it away inside her. Then she went back inside, sat down on the sofa, and stared at her fair, slender fingers, lost in thought. Next stop, Xinqiao Station. Please prepare to exit the train. Phew, we made it just in time. I let out a long sigh of relief, then found a corner seat and shielded Bai Xiaoyi behind me. After all, the morning rush hour on Line 7 was always packed with people. Being protected by Xing Xing like this feels so nice. It's like being a princess, guarded by her knight from all harm. Little stars sparkled in Bai Xiaoyi's eyes as she looked up at me with adoration. Bai Xiaoyi, really? Can't you stop bickering with Aunt Bai Jai all the time? She's your mom, after all. You should respect her. I wore a helpless expression, earnestly lecturing Bai Xiaoyi, trying to reason with her. After all, if every morning is like this, my body's gonna give out sooner or later. Humph, it's all her fault for always sneaking up on you behind my back. Xing Xing is mine and mine alone. You silly girl, stop talking nonsense. Aunt Baiji isn't the kind of person you think she is. You saw what was in the bag, didn't you? It was just some pastries. And besides, I'm not yours alone. Haven't I told you this before? I don't want to think about romance right now. Our main priority right now is our studies. Got it. I don't care. The way that woman looks at you is totally off. You're just too oblivious to notice, Xing Xing. Trying to reason with Bai Xiaoyi is like casting pearls before swine. Guess I'll just let things be. But just as I thought that, a familiar touch suddenly came over me, making my whole body stiffen up instantly. Here we go again, and it's the same spot as before. Is there no justice left? Are all these obsessed women this bold now? I was just about to turn around to check if it was that black silk lady from yesterday, when that familiar notification sound suddenly echoed in my head. According to the system's judgment, please refrain from any acts of resistance. Otherwise, the system will impose severe punishment on you. Why did this notification have to pop up right now? And it just dropped such a confusing message. I was completely dumbfounded. Also, what does severe punishment even mean? The touch came again, snapping me back to my senses. I ignored the notification this time, spinning around and grabbing the woman's hand in one swift motion. A beautiful face with delicate makeup came into view, dressed in a business suit paired with black silk, total office lady style. Sure enough, it was that youthful and beautiful lady from yesterday. Once I got a clear look at her, I was just about to shout, "You can't run away this time," when the system notification blared again. Ding dong. System detects you have violated the command. Severe punishment will now be enforced. Punishment, wait a second. But reality gave me no time to react. Heh heh. Check out the streamer's pinned video for all the juicy details. First period in the morning was still math. I still remembered this time yesterday. Because of a stroke of bad luck, I'd accidentally stumbled upon Liu Ruyan's little secret. I snuck a glance at the desk behind me out of the corner of my eye. Liu Ruyan was hunched over her desk, writing something I couldn't see. A waterfall of long hair cascading over her shoulders. Beneath the sunlight, she exuded the gentle aura of a quiet schoolgirl. Judging by her current state, could it be that she hadn't noticed? Otherwise, why would she be acting like nothing had happened? But just as I pulled my thoughts away from Liu Ruyan, my eyes just had to drift to the cool, elegant figure sitting to my right. A head of beautiful long hair, a simple yet sleek dress. Everything about her highlighted Li Xia's ethereal charm. She looked as stunning as the legendary snow woman of folklore. I stared back and forth at the icy cold Li Xia. In my head, I compared her to the female customer who'd bought adult comics last night, making a side-by-side comparison, even though their outfits were different. Her unique, frosty aura made it impossible for me not to connect the two dots. Either way, for whatever reason, it was better for me to mind my own business. The relationship between us two was already awkward enough as it was. I didn't want to make things even more tense. But just as I thought that, Li Xia's beautiful light blue eyes suddenly locked onto mine. Crap, I got caught. I quickly averted my gaze from Li Xia, pretending to be completely focused on the lecture, even jotting down notes like I meant it. But Li Xia just kept staring, like she was trying to see right through me, from the inside out. The temperature to my right felt like it dropped 2 degrees. Could it be that she was planning to kill me to silence me? Now that I'd found out her little secret, I couldn't help but shiver. Then I forced a stiff, harmless smile on my face, sending a friendly signal to Licia. But Licia didn't buy it at all. She just kept staring at me with those beautiful eyes, not saying a word, not changing her expression one bit. Her fair, pretty face looked like it was frozen solid. I felt so wronged. I didn't mean to see you buying those comics. Why are you staring at me with that icy cold gaze? Besides, I've kept my mouth shut about it this whole time. I didn't go around telling anyone. What more do you want? Ring, ring, ring. Thankfully, the class dismissal bell rang just in time, allowing me to escape from that freezing stare. Without a second thought, I bolted out of the classroom door first. After washing my hands, I wandered down the hallway, head hanging low as I lost myself in thought. I was so absorbed in my own mind that I didn't even notice the 2 towering figures right in front of me. A mature, seductive voice suddenly rang out from ahead. Before I could react, I slammed straight into something that only girls have, and guys don't. That overwhelming sense of suffocation and the dizziness creeping into my head told me I needed to get away fast. Otherwise, I'd pass out from lack of oxygen. Phew. I gasped for a few lungfuls of fresh air, finally feeling the pressure and suffocation fade away. Then I lifted my gaze and saw the woman's true identity clearly. Fiery red wavy hair, plump, bright red lips, a sleek teacher's uniform. It was none other than my new homeroom teacher and biology instructor, Yan Mingmei. Xing Xing. Watch where you're going next time, okay? You bumped into me pretty hard. I'm so sorry. Ms. Mingmei. I was lost in thought and didn't notice you. I'll be more careful next time. I never thought that on the second day of school. I'd get into such an awkward situation with my female homeroom teacher. It's all right, I know you didn't mean it. But as compensation, could you help me carry the props for my biology class next period? When I heard the word compensation, I thought it would be something serious. Turns out it was just helping carry some props. That was way easier than I expected. No problem, Ms. Mingmei. I've got this covered. Then come with me, Xing Xing. Yan Mingmei shot me a seductive smile, then clicked away in her black leather red-soled high heels, walking ahead of me, leaving me with the perfect view of her mature, curvy back. I replied with a quick got it, and followed closely behind her, heading to the school's basement storage room with Yan Mingmei. This was my first time ever coming to the basement storage room. I had no idea what kind of props Ms. Mingmei needed to get. As we ventured deeper inside, the sound of students faded away completely. Click-clack. The sound of her high heels on the floor echoed loudly. In the quiet, enclosed space, neither of us said a word. I followed silently behind Ms. Mingmei. After making a sharp turn, those red-soled high heels and long legs in suspender stockings finally came to a stop. We're here. Xing Xing? Ms. Mingmei's alluring voice drifted over to me. Then she pointed at a slightly rusted iron door up ahead. Right here. Xing Xing? Though it looks like the light bulb inside is broken. Be careful when we go in later. Don't bump into anything or get hurt. Okay, Miss Mingmei. I'll watch my step. Thankfully, my phone had a built-in flashlight feature. The light wasn't very bright, but it was better than nothing. And since the phone's flashlight had a limited range, I didn't stay too far behind Ms. Mingmei this time, walking shoulder to shoulder with her as we entered the storage room. A unique, enticing scent kept teasing my nostrils, making my face flush and my heart race. The basement storage room was in utter disarray, and among these piles of equipment were medical human skeletons and anatomical models of human organs. The empty eye sockets on the models stared at me like real human eyes, sending chills down my spine. It felt like I was trapped in a world overrun by skeletons and zombies. Just as I was completely focused on these human models and skeletons, Ms. Mingmei beside me suddenly let out a flustered scream. The sudden sound jumped me half out of my skin. Before I could react, I felt my body being tightly hugged by a soft, warm figure. My face buried itself in that familiar softness once again. I struggled with all my might to yank my face out of that overwhelming soft embrace. What's wrong, Miss Mingmei? Did you see something weird? Yes, I saw one of those things. One of those things. I tensed up instantly on high alert, scanning my surroundings warily. All sorts of wild guesses popped into my head. from Ms. Mingmei's current state and tone of voice. Could it be that she saw something supernatural? Well, I just saw a big black rat. It scared me half to death. Having calmed down a little, Ms. Mingmei explained belatedly, looking thoroughly spooked. Oh, it was just a rat. I thought it was a ghost or something. It's okay, Ms. Mingmei. That thing's already gone. If it comes back out, I'll chase it away for you. I'm so glad you're here, Xing. Otherwise, I really wouldn't have known what to do. Ms. Mingmei seemed to have snapped back to her usual self, curving her bright red lips into a teasing smile, yet her body never left mine for a second, sticking close to me in a half embrace, completely oblivious to how inappropriate it was for a teacher to be hugging a student like this. And that wasn't even the end of it. Yan Mingmei then leaned in close to my ear and whispered softly, Teacher likes handsome boys like you, Xing. Boys who are so brave and reassuring, whether it was that seductive, coquettish whisper or the faint puff of breath brushing against my ear, it sent an odd tingling sensation, coursing through my entire body, my face flushing bright red from my earlobes all the way down to my neck. Giggle? Who would have thought you'd get so flustered, Xing? Could it be that you're still a virgin? In that moment, she didn't seem like a teacher who nurtures students at all, but rather a seductive, enchanting witch. My throat went dry. I couldn't figure out what Ms. Mingmei was up to, what game she was playing. I could only drop my head and fluster, too shy to meet her predatory gaze. Giggle. All right. Teacher won't tease you anymore. I already found the props. Let's take them and head back to the classroom together. Yan Mingmei snapped back into her teacher persona, pointing at two relatively large props. On the table beside her, she said. I let out a long, relieved breath. To be honest, I was really worried just now that the two of us would end up veering into some weird, inappropriate territory. But then again, maybe Ms. Mingmei was just trying to tease me, to lighten the creepy atmosphere around us. Yeah, that must be it. Xing, why are you having such dirty thoughts right now? To think that for a moment there, you were fantasizing about something with your own teacher, to make up for my inappropriate thoughts about Ms. Mingmei just now. I quickly volunteered, rushing ahead of her, to pick up one of the props. Whoa, it's heavier than it looks. It feels like silicone when I touch it. Wait a second. Why does this thing look like it's in this proportion? This size, this familiar shape. While it's not as big and exaggerated as Ms. Mingmei's, I can say for sure that what I'm holding is a female body model. Miss Mingmei, this is... I asked Ms. Mingmei doubtfully, is this the prop you've been looking for this whole time? Also, why does the school even have something like this? Oh, right. This is the model we'll be using for next period's class. Xing. If you hadn't come with me, I really wouldn't have been able to carry these by myself. Unlike my flustered self, Ms. Mingmei acted completely natural, picking up the other model from the table. I never expected they'd even have a male model here. What kind of magical storage room is this? Once we entered the classroom, I quickly plopped the model down on the podium, then fled back to my seat like I was running for my life. Feeling like I'd been given a new lease on life, I let out a huge sigh of relief. That was pure torture just now. As for the curious and questioning stares from my classmates, I chose to ignore them completely, acting like nothing had happened as I stared out the window at the scenery. As the saying goes, as long as I don't feel embarrassed, then it's everyone else who's embarrassed. All right, everyone, please return to your seats. We're ready to start class. Ms. Mingmei stepped up onto the podium, standing right next to the two human body models. When compared to her figure, the female model beside her looked like she was severely underdeveloped. Today's class is a little special. I'm sure you all can see these two human body models beside me. In today's class, teacher will be explaining human body structure and knowledge to you all, otherwise known as sex education class. The entire class erupted into an uproar instantly. The boys in the class obviously had even bigger emotional reactions. They could basically be divided into three categories. The first category consisted of boys who looked ashamed and dejected. After comparing themselves to the model, they could only hang their heads in defeat, secretly cursing their own assets for being so disappointing. The second category of boys let out huge sighs of relief, the hearts they'd had in their throats, finally settling back into their chests. Phew, thank goodness! I'm just barely up to par. The third category of boys was much smaller in number. There was only one boy in the entire class who fit this bill. This particular male classmate had his nose stuck up in the air like he was on top of the world. A smug and mocking smile plastered across his face. If it weren't for the fact that we were still in class, he probably would have stood up on his desk and laughed out loud triumphantly, because his size was an astonishing 15 centimeter. The national average in this country is 12 centimeter, and 18 centimeter is the world record maximum. I was secretly shocked. For someone who'd never paid attention to this sort of thing before, this was nothing short of a bombshell. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Because I'd only ever been average before, 13 centimeter. By that standard, I was just an ordinary guy. But thanks to the system enhancement I'd received earlier, I'd shot up from 13 centimeter all the way to 23 centimeters in one go, to the point where it was even a little uncomfortable to walk now. What am I going to do from now on? I worried secretly to myself. If anyone finds out about this accidentally, how will I explain it? Won't they lock me up and experiment on me like some kind of freak? But then I remembered that the audience members are 20 centimeters longer than me, and I felt instantly relieved. If anyone's getting experimented on, it'll be them first. All right then, teacher will continue with the lesson. The next part of the lesson will cover some developmental processes, and these processes are quite fascinating. However, relying solely on model demonstrations won't be enough to show you all the details clearly. So next, we'll need a male student to come up to the podium to give everyone a real-life demonstration. Is there any male classmate who'd be willing to volunteer to dedicate himself to science? The students below turned into statues instantly, frozen in place. They'd thought today's class couldn't get any more shocking, but it turned out there was an even more jaw-dropping segment waiting for them. Most of the boys hung their heads low at this point, wishing they could crawl under their desks to avoid Ms. Mingmei's gaze. After all, if they went up there to demonstrate, they'd be humiliated beyond belief. They'd never be able to hold their heads up in front of their classmates again. If no male student volunteers, then the teacher will have to pick someone at random. Ms. Mingmei, at that moment, looked like a seductive enchantress who could steal souls, a playful and teasing smile tugging at the corners of her bright red lips. Suddenly her eyes locked onto me. Cold sweat broke out all over my body instantly. Student Xingxing, it's you. My mind went completely blank. Teacher. You've lived 18 years with a face that could charm all living things. Yet the ones who like you are a bunch of infatuated women with special obsessions. As soon as you stepped out of the house, your childhood sweetheart and her mother both fell for you at the same time. When you got to school, the aloof and ascetic class monitor, who was also the school beauty, lost her heart to you at first sight. She'd even tie you up like a rice dumpling just to have you. After school, you went to work part-time at the convenience store. A stunning tanned beauty didn't care that you were on the job. She still showered you with her passionate affection. And just now, the gorgeous biology teacher asked you to go up on stage to show off your special talent. At that moment, I stood on the podium and squeezed my eyes shut tight, too scared to look at the expressions on my classmates' faces. I could only pray silently in my heart that Ms. Mingmei would wrap this up quickly. All right then, student Xingxing, you may begin. Or does the teacher need to give you a hand? With my eyes tightly closed, I only felt a warm, fragrant body leaning close to me. Standing right beside me, she whispered softly, asking if I needed any help. It's okay, Ms. Mingmei. I can handle this myself. I stood there helplessly, not knowing what to do. 10 seconds passed just like that. It was nothing like what I'd imagined. No one in the entire room reacted at all. Instead, they all fell completely silent in unison. It was as if someone had hit the mute button on all of them. What's going on? Why is there no reaction at all? Ms. Mingmei, I called out to the teacher beside me tentatively. I didn't know why, but Ms. Mingmei suddenly froze in place, motionless. Was she shocked, speechless? What am I going to do now? Will I be treated like a total freak from now on? My heart was pounding with anxiety, because a whole minute had passed, and there was still not a single sound or reaction from anyone around. Until suddenly, gasp, someone let out a sharp intake of breath, shattering the long-standing silence. Some of the students were so shocked that they blurted out their thoughts without thinking. Who brought an elephant into the classroom? Oh my God, that looks like it's more than 3 times the size of mine. Wah, I'm so jealous. The girls, on the other hand, were relatively more reserved. They just stared at me curiously, their faces flushing bright red. Some of the girls were so shy that they quickly dropped their heads after glancing at me once, but they couldn't contain their curiosity. So 3 seconds after looking down, they'd sneak another peek at me out of the corner of their eyes, and then they just kept repeating this process over and over again. The more outgoing girls were completely captivated by the sight. It was like there was a magnet there that had their eyes glued firmly in place. They couldn't look away no matter how hard they tried. Teacher Ms. Mingmei. 5 minutes passed. I couldn't take it anymore and called out to Ms. Mingmei beside me again. After all, standing here like this made me feel like an animal, put on display in a zoo for visitors to gawk at. Who would have thought that student Xingxing, who looks so delicate and handsome, is actually hiding such an impressive asset underneath? You've really managed to surprise the teacher. Ms. Mingmei, who'd finally snapped out of her daze, leaned in close to my ear and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear. All right then, student Xingxing, you can return to your seat now. On behalf of the entire class, the teacher would like to thank you. I felt like I'd been granted amnesty and rushed back to my seat without looking back, then let out a huge, relieved sigh. But unlike before, the gazes of my classmates followed me all the way back to my seat. They all stared straight at me, with all sorts of colorful expressions on their faces. On the school forum, the front page, which was usually flooded with posts about the freshman hotness rankings and the school beauty rankings, suddenly had a post with a completely different vibe, burst into everyone's field of vision, and its popularity and discussion volume skyrocketed, climbing all the way to the #1 spot. And the post only contained 2 pictures, one of a handsome, delicate-looking high school boy and his big brother. Moreover, they were high-definition photos with no mosaic whatsoever. Kaisei Private High School. Student Council Office, the Student Council President. Shouldn't we delete this post immediately? It's clearly disrupting the school order. Why are we just letting it stay there? One of the student council members asked the president in confusion, but the student council president didn't answer her question. Instead, she just stared at my photo on the computer screen, her beautiful eyes narrowing slightly. She was wearing an expensive, tailored uniform, exuding an air of nobility and elegance, like a true young lady from a wealthy family. President? Only then did the student council president close her laptop and looked at the student council member with a smile. Don't be in such a hurry. My dear classmate, things are just starting to get interesting. Kaisei Private High School Disciplinary Committee. A girl with a high ponytail and a red armband on her sleeve was browsing through my profile. Her ultra-long ponytail was nearly 1.8 meters long. If it weren't for her 10-centimeter high heels, you'd really worry that she'd step on her own hair when she walked. And at that moment, from her trembling figure, you could tell that this girl with the super high ponytail and leather boots was experiencing obvious and intense emotional fluctuations. You couldn't tell if she was excited or angry. In front of the drawing board in the art club room sat a petite girl with colorful hair. At that moment, she was like someone who'd been frozen solid, her eyes glued to her phone screen, staring straight at my photo, observing every single detail on it, every shadow, every contour. Art, this is true art. I've finally found the most perfect art in the world. Trash, it's all trash. What was all that garbage I was drawing before? Trash? All of it is just trash. Then she tore the sketch off the drawing board in one swift motion and threw it into the trash can beside her without looking back. She immediately took out a brand new sheet of clean white paper and spread it out on the drawing board. Then she seemed to enter a very strange state, a state of pure inspiration. She picked up the half-broken pencil that had fallen on the floor and started dancing it across the paper. Her movements were so fast that you could see the afterimage of her fair hands, and on the white paper, a complete sketch gradually began to take shape. It was none other than me and my partner at school. The cafeteria at noon was the same as always, packed with a sea of people. Jiboda, Baishaoyi, and I, the 3 of us, found a relatively good spot to eat lunch. To prevent Baishaoyi from pulling any tricks, this time I took the initiative to sit on the same side as her, while Jiboda sat across from the 2 of us. This made Baishaoyi over the moon with joy. She stuck close to me the entire time, hugging me and clinging to me nonstop. She was this close to feeding me food directly mouth to mouth with her cherry lips. Baishaoyi, behave yourself. Otherwise, I won't eat lunch with you tomorrow. Haven't you noticed that everyone around is staring at us? I frowned and said to Baishaoyi in a stern tone, in my opinion, the reason why most people in the cafeteria were looking our way was twofold. First, Baishaoyi, who was an extremely beautiful underclassman, was eating here. Second, this extremely beautiful underclassman was being all lovey-dovey with a guy. Little did I know that the real reason all these people were staring was because of me. And just then, a commotion suddenly erupted at the entrance of the cafeteria. And then, the noisy crowd parted to make way for them automatically. Several girls dressed in delinquent-style outfits marched over in an imposing manner. coming to a stop right in front of me. An overwhelming and suffocating aura washed over me instantly. What's going on? I looked at the group of senior girls in front of me, with their exaggerated makeup and hairstyles. They looked exactly like the delinquent girls you'd see in movies. Can I help you with something? I asked nervously. What a handsome young man you are, little brother. It's nothing too special. We just want you to come play a little game with us sisters. Among these delinquents, a woman with two thin, long scars on her face spoke slowly. Judging by how respectful the others are, we can tell for sure she's the ringleader of this girl gang. Even though she had heavy makeup on and those two ferocious scars, they didn't ruin her looks at all. Instead, they added a bold and wild vibe to her. It's obvious that without the scars and makeup, she'd definitely be a gorgeous girl with delicate features. When they say have some fun, I can't help but think of the worst-case scenario. After all, these are the delinquents that everyone runs away from. Who knows? What cruel things they'll do to bully me. Just come with us, Junior, and you'll find out. It's gonna be a super fun game. Then the ringleader turned to her lackeys beside her and said, "You girls, take her away." Yes, boss. Several female underlings in gang uniforms stepped forward and grabbed me by the arms. In an instant, a strong whiff of makeup and perfume enveloped me completely. "Xing, what are you doing? Let Xing go right now." Bai Xiaoye saw me being dragged away by the girl gang and let out a panicked cry, trying to get me back. But her efforts were useless against their block. "Little lady, don't be so selfish. Sister's just borrowing your boyfriend for a bit." The delinquents giggled coquettishly as they dragged me toward the door, just like the female demons in Journey to the West, who caught a tender-skinned monk, planning to take him back and savor him slowly. At first, I refused to go along without a fight, struggling hard, trying countless times to escape from their grasp. But then, that familiar system notification popped into my head. Ding dong, system verdict. Do not resist in any way. Otherwise, severe punishment will be imposed on you. On the school rooftop, they chased away the students and couples who were eating lunch there. Then, one of the delinquents locked the rooftop door from the inside to prevent anyone from coming in. Then they all stared at me greedily and closed in, like a pack of hungry she-wolves, eyeing a juicy, delicious meal. What are you gonna do to me? I crossed my arms in front of me defensively, stepping back nonstop until my back hit the wall and I had nowhere left to go. Ahem! For the full details, check out the streamer's pinned video. Xing had just been bullied at school, and now she was leaning against the wall, limping back to the classroom door, where two figures had been waiting for a long time. "Xing, are you okay? Did they do anything to you?" When Bai Xiaoyi saw me, she ran over worriedly, checking my body up and down with her small hands. "I'm fine. Xiaoyi, I'm okay." Bai Xiaoyi's cold little hands accidentally brushed against my waist, making me shiver violently. After all, it had just been slammed against something thousands of times, so it was definitely sore and aching like crazy. "Does it hurt here?" "Xing, let me see. Are you hurt?" Bai Xiaoyi asked with a look of genuine concern, like she was checking for bruises and swelling. "I really am fine. Don't worry. I just twisted it a little by accident. They didn't do anything to me. See? I came back in one piece." To keep Bai Xiaoyi from worrying too much, I fought through the pain and did a few moves from the third national radio gymnastics routine to prove I was okay. "Then what did those aggressive girls want with you anyway? You're the first person I know who got taken by them and came back unscathed. It doesn't make sense. With how those girls are, they should have laid a hand on you. This is not scientific." Jiboda, who was standing nearby, suddenly turned into Detective Taro, squinted his eyes and stared at me intently, even stroking his chin, as if he had a non-existent handlebar mustache. "Oh, we just exchanged some academic knowledge, like the genetics of carbon-based organism reproduction, the tribodynamics of epidermal tissues, and the neurochemistry of dopamine and endorphins, stuff like that." The two of them looked totally confused. "What are you even talking about?" Ahem. Anyway, it's all good now. Let's hurry back to class." After I sent the suspicious-looking Jiboda and Bai Xiaoyi away, I finally made my way back to my seat and sighed inwardly at my chaotic high school life. It's just one thing after another. Ding dong. System detects that host has completed the mission. Reward, 3 enhancement points. Huh? What mission? How did I complete it out of nowhere? The sudden system notification took me by surprise. and left me full of questions. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Could it be because I didn't resist earlier? I looked at the prominent girl magnet trait, LV2 on my status panel. I never paid much attention to it before, but now that I think about it, it must be this so-called girl magnet trait messing with me. Oh well, no use overthinking it. From today onwards, I, Xing, am gonna get back to my normal life and never touch that attribute enhancement stuff again. Thinking about the smooth sailing life ahead, a happy smile slowly spread across my lips. But then, ding-dong. System detects that host has not allocated enhancement points for an extended period. System will automatically allocate them for the host. Wait a second. Can't we talk about this first? Ding-dong, enhancement complete. Current thickness, 5.2 cm. I took out a ruler, compared it with a pencil and an eraser respectively, then used my fingers as a reference, and finally came to a conclusion. Isetwamb is roughly the width of my 3 middle fingers, held together. System, that's cheating! I yelled inwardly with my thoughts, accusing the system of being a shameless rogue. I've never heard of a system that allocates points automatically. What if I get more points in the future? Even if I do nothing. It'll probably just randomly assign them like this again, won't it? I don't want to turn into some monster with 3 legs. Oh my God, someone help me! I wanted to cry but had no tears in my heart. I turned my head to look at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window. But my eyes didn't reflect the beautiful scenery in front of me. Instead, they lost their focus and went blank. Xing looks like she's got something on her mind. A very soft female voice drifted into my ears, jolting my blank eyes back to focus. Someone's calling me. Whose voice is that? I followed the sound and realized that gentle voice was coming from behind me, from the quiet girl sitting at the desk behind mine. Liu Ruyan. Thanks for your concern, Liu. A lot of stuff has happened these past 2 days, and it's got me feeling a bit lost, but I'll try to get my head straight and get back to my old self soon. I thanked Liu Ruyan. After all, no matter what her intentions were, she was genuinely concerned about me. So in that moment, I instantly took a liking to this quiet girl. That's good, but compared to the cheerful and outgoing Xing I knew before, you have a certain charm about you now. When you're feeling down and depressed, in your own way, huh? I froze on the spot. Liu Ruyan is complimenting me, and from the tone and content of her words, has she been paying attention to me since freshman year? This unexpected turn of events left me completely tongue-tied. I just sat there dumbfounded, not knowing how to respond. On the contrary, Liu Ruyan didn't look the least bit shy or embarrassed. She just gave me her signature. Quiet smile, like a beautiful lotus flower emerging from the water. Hello, everyone! Let's start our class. This is English class. Just as I was lost in thought, a curvy blonde foreign woman walked into the classroom with an English textbook under her arm. She was none other than our English teacher, Henry Leese, who was of pure foreign descent. She had a classic voluptuous and tall figure, classic fair skin, classic voluminous blonde curls, and classic deep blue crystal eyes. Ever since she started teaching, the students who were already bad at English found their grades slipping even further. Who could even focus on the lesson anyway? With a teacher like her around, after a full day of classes at Kaicheng Private High School, it was time for the usual dismissal. Just like yesterday, I took the subway to my part-time job again. But this time I didn't nap, nor did I take out my phone to read light novels. Instead, I just sat on the subway seat, scanning my surroundings warily. Jingle. It was the wind chime jingle of the convenience store door opening. Oh, it's you. Senior Xingxing, you're actually dressed normally today. Guess you didn't run into any robbers. I rolled my eyes at the tanned tomboy Li Jiu. Can't you wish me well? Come on, I'm just kidding. After all, our senior Xingxing is so handsome. If you ever get robbed, it'd be for your looks. Am I right? The senior's scary woman's intuition hit my sore spot right on the nose. I sighed inwardly in frustration, then headed to the staff room to change into the number 667 convenience store uniform. The moment I opened the door and stepped out, I bumped right into Xia Qiyue, who was about to enter the staff room. Good evening, Senior Xia. Xia Qiyue was still in her uniform, paired with opaque dark black stockings, exuding an air of conservatism and prudence. When we met, Xia Qiyue just gave me a expressionless nod, then walked to the shelf in her black high heels. That shelf? I knew it was where they kept some adult items. After all, I'd helped Senior Xia restock it just yesterday. Even though picking up those pink packaged boxes made me super embarrassed. I just had this feeling that Senior Xia always came to this shelf often to restock. Who knew the adult section had such high turnover? What kind of people buy all this stuff anyway? I wondered curiously to myself, meanwhile taking over the cashier position from the tan tomboy. Well then, Senior Xingxing, I'm off. Don't miss me. Mwah! Yeah, bye. Xiaowei, take care on your way home. I was already used to Li Ju's affectionate nicknames. After all, she was still a lively teenage girl. Going through her rebellious phase, being mischievous was just part of her age. A while after Li Ju left, Xiaoque walked out of the staff room, carrying a big box. Inside the box were all sorts of fancy-looking toys. I recognized all of them. After all, I just had that special biology class today. With those unique shapes, even a fool could guess what they were for. Watching Xiaoque place those little toys on the shelf with a straight face, I couldn't help but sigh. Senior Xia really was something else. Faced with things that would make most people blush to the roots of their hair, she could still keep a poker face, without any hint of embarrassment. Then I started attending to customers. Hello, sir, that'll be 99 yuan. Hello, ma'am, 28 yuan, please. Hello, miss, that's 317 yuan total. I stared at the lady at the checkout counter. Wait, no? I froze in place staring at the girl standing in front of me, even stopping my scanning motion. Because this girl who'd spent 317 yuan was none other than my classmate and class monitor, the campus belle of Kaicheng Private High School, Li Xia, known as the Ice Beauty and Snow Maiden. But unlike yesterday, today Li Xia wasn't wearing a baggy coat, nor did she have a sun hat on her head. Instead, she was dressed exactly the same way as she was at school. Whoa! Yesterday, she at least bothered to wear a hat to cover up. Today, she was throwing caution to the wind, showing up completely uncovered. What? You're just done hiding it now? Not even pretending anymore? Wait a minute, didn't you just buy a huge pile yesterday? Like a dozen books at least? Did you really finish them all that fast? The themes of the books were basically the same as yesterday too. Stuff like classmate discovers my little secret, the campus belle's hidden side, the fall of the ice-cold school beauty, and so on. Maybe it was just my imagination, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Li Xia was hinting at something. Kids, stop daydreaming! There's a line of people waiting to check out. An auntie from the back of the line spoke up, interrupting my wandering thoughts. I'm so sorry. Truly sorry. I quickly bagged up the books Li Xia had bought and handed them to her. Our eyes inevitably met, those beautiful gem-like eyes of hers. They were cold, yet still so captivating that you could get lost in them. Hello, miss. That'll be 317 yuan total. Cash or scan? Li Xia didn't reply. She just stared straight at me, exactly the same way she did at school. Miss Li, classmate Li, classmate Xia. Ding dong. Payment received, 317 yuan. Whew, thank goodness Li Xia finally paid. Please come again. I put on a professional smile and saw Li Xia off, but even after paying, she showed no sign of leaving. See, classmate Li, is there anything else I can help you with? There are people waiting in line behind you. Only then did Li Xia blink her ice blue eyelashes that fluttered like little fans, shifting her gaze from my face downwards. Then she parted her red lips slightly and said something that blew my mind. Classmate Xingxing, is it really that big? Turns out there aren't just 5 girls obsessed with you. There are 9, and one of them is your adoptive mother. She adds a little something extra to your dinner every day and sneaks into your room at night while you're fast asleep. Just now, the Busty teacher asked you to go up to the podium in biology class to show off your special trait in front of 3 billion girls because of your impressive 5.2 simmer today. All the girls have gone crazy over you. At this moment, the stunning campus belle has been following you all the way to the convenience store where you work. She even deliberately bought those books in front of you to drop hints. But you're still as dense as a wooden fish. So she just came right out and said it, classmate Xingxing. Yours really is huge. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning, frozen solid on the spot. Big? What's big? What part is big? I felt like the number of times I'd been shocked and stunned these past 2 days was more than all the times combined before. After dropping that bombshell of a line, Li Xia finally picked up her big bag of loot and walked out of the convenience store, leaving me standing there, completely dumbfounded. Finally off work. I dragged my exhausted body onto the subway home. Recalling everything that had happened today, it felt like I'd been living in a dream. First, I was harassed by that weird lady on the subway this morning. Then I got punished by the system for resisting. After entering school, I had a little incident with teacher Mingmei, which led to me being squished between her massive chest twice. Then there was that second period special biology class, which I'd never forget for the rest of my life. Not only was the knowledge teacher Mingmei taught way too explosive, I also got to be a human model in front of a huge crowd for the first time. I was having a perfectly nice lunch when I got jumped by that girl gang of school delinquents and kidnapped to the rooftop. Then came the school bullying. I rubbed my stomach, which had taken hundreds of blows. On top of standing for ages at the convenience store earlier, my whole body was aching like crazy now. Guess I need to swing by the pharmacy near my place to get some medicine later. Hello? Anyone here? I pushed open the pharmacy door and called out inside, and then the sight in front of me made my eyes pop right out. Behind the glass counter sat a beautiful woman in a white coat, probably not even 30 years old. At that moment, she was breastfeeding the baby in her arms, making the scene totally eye-catching. I'm so sorry. For the awkward scene, I didn't think there'd be any more customers at this hour. The pharmacy woman didn't scream or act all flustered like a teenage girl. Instead, she waited till the baby finished feeding and burped, before tidying up calmly. What's wrong, young man? Any discomfort? What kind of medicine do you need? The woman in white coat carried the baby over to the counter and asked me softly as I stood by the door. My butt hurts. I finally snapped out of the shock from that striking scene and came back to my senses and told her about my problem. Your butt hurts? The woman in white coat narrowed her eyes slightly and sized me up from head to toe. Then her face lit up with a look of sudden realization. Don't mind me for being nosy, okay? You're at an age when you're full of energy, but you can't just squander your health recklessly just because you're young. Otherwise, you'll regret it when you get older. The beautiful woman seemed to recall some sad memories and sighed softly. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I nodded in half understanding, figuring she meant I should try not to stand for too long from now on, or I'd end up with muscle strain when I'm older. Do you have any specific medicine in mind, young man? I don't really know much about this stuff. I just know my body's aching really bad right now. Just recommend something for me, please. I stared at the wide array of medicine boxes behind the counter, not sure which one would work for me. Aching, huh? The woman in white coat clicked her high heels and browsed the shelves for a bit. Then, from all the medicines, she picked up a small yellow package box. Liwei di Huangwen? I took the box in my hand and checked the effects listed on the instructions. Miss Pharmacist, are you sure this is the right medicine? It doesn't seem to match my symptoms at all. I turned the box of Liwei di Huangwan over in my hand, examining it. It doesn't even say it can treat butt pain or anything like that. Don't worry, young man. I've run this pharmacy for years. I've seen plenty of patients with your issue. This medicine will definitely work for you. You'll feel better in a few days, but make sure you get plenty of rest, okay? Don't wear yourself out like this anymore. Oh, I see. All right then, I'll take one box. I decided to trust what the woman in white coat said. After all, she was the professional. She knew way more about this than I did, an amateur. When I got home, I found my twin little sisters, already fast asleep on the sofa. I gently poked each of their tiny cheeks, waking up the sleeping Feng and Ling. Come on, go sleep in your room. You might catch a cold if you stay here. The twin girls in white stockings with single ponytails rubbed their sleepy eyes and whined at me in their soft, cute voices. You're back, brother. Feng missed you so much. Hug me. Feng, the older twin, stretched out her slender arms, making a hugging gesture. You little rascal, what am I going to do with you? I fondly flicked Feng's little nose, then bent down and picked up her soft, delicate little body. Hey, sis, that's cheating! Ling wants a hug, too. Brother, will you hug Ling, too? The little girl in white stockings with a right-side ponytail on the sofa saw that brother's arms were already occupied and quickly tugged at my arm to vie for attention. All right. Ling gets a hug, too. Come here, let brother carry you to bed. With that, I shifted Feng to my left arm, then reached out with my right arm to pick up Ling as well. After that, I held the two clingy little twins tightly in my arms and carried them upstairs to their bedroom, then gently tucked them under the covers. Wait, brother, don't go yet. You haven't given us our goodnight kisses yet, Feng and Ling said in unison. I had no choice but to lean down again and kiss each of their tiny cheeks. You two little rascals? Can you finally go to sleep nicely now? I stepped out of the twins' bedroom. I really spoil them too much. Come eat quickly. I've reheated the food 3 times already. My mom, Liu Chengjiang, walked out of the kitchen holding a plate in each hand. Her tight pencil skirt hugged her curvy hips, and on her feet were a pair of shiny, tempting high heels. The heels clicked rhythmically as she walked across the living room floor. Click, clack, click, clack. Mom has had a habit for as long as I can remember. She absolutely loves wearing high heels. Even at home, she'll wear a pair of indoor high heels and walk around the house. Whoa, is that curry rice today? It smells so good. The smell made my stomach growl instantly. I rushed to the dining table in a hurry and started wolfing down the food. You kid? Slow down, or you'll get a stomachache when you sleep later. Here, drink this herbal tea I made for you. The gentle and virtuous Liu Chengjiang handed me a cup of herbal tea. Then, just like she always did, she rested, her chin in her delicate hand, and watched her son quietly finish off the dinner she'd prepared with so much care. Xin, what's in that bag next to you? Liu Chengjiang asked, curious. Oh, this is some medicine I bought on the way home. Medicine? What's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Let Mom take a good look at you. Liu Chengjiang panicked immediately. Thinking her son was seriously ill, she stood up quickly and started checking my body. It's nothing serious. Mom, I just have a sore butt. A strange, awkward look suddenly crossed Liu Chengjiang's face. Then she opened the medicine bag and took out the box of Liwei Di Huangwan inside. Liu Chengjian let out a surprised little gasp first. Then on her already awkward-looking face, a faint flush of pink started to creep up. Do you know what this medicine is for? It's for butt pain. The pharmacist said this is the best stuff for my symptoms. I didn't notice anything odd about Mom at all. Wiping my mouth with one hand, I answered Mom's question with the other. Then I let out a satisfied burp. This medicine works best for your symptoms. But this medicine is... Liu Chengjian's delicate hand holding the Liwei de Huang pills started to tremble slightly. I've actually reached the point where I need to take Liwei de Huang pills. Could it be because of overexertion? Staring at her son's sallow face, Liu Chengjian silently blamed herself. It seems I can't just keep taking and taking from now on. I need to let myself get some proper rest too. Otherwise, it's Liwei de Huang pills this time. Next time, it might be 30 Wei de Huang pills. So, I'll cut it down from 7 times a week to 6. Tonight, I'll just have to sleep alone. Just endure it for one night. Wait till tomorrow night, and I'll get back what I'm owed, plus interest. That's settled. The night was deep and quiet, with all sounds fading away. I had already drifted off into a deep sleep. But upstairs in our house on the 2nd floor, a soft creak of a door opening could be heard at that moment. Then a female figure, her face hidden from view, slowly stepped out from behind the door. First, she stood in front of Liu Chengjian's door with a puzzled look and watched for a while. After confirming that there was a faint breathing sound coming from inside, she walked down to the 1st floor, her feet clad in gradient gray-black stockings. Click. The door to my room was gently pushed open. Then that indistinct female figure sneaked quietly inside. She walked over to my clothes and stood there dazed for a moment. After standing like that for nearly 3 minutes, she held out a pair of delicate, fair hands and picked up my school uniform jacket. Then she brought it up to her nose and took a deep, long whiff. A strong, dizzying sensation instantly flooded her mind. Her whole body felt light and floaty, and a look of pure bliss spread across her face. But that wasn't all. She turned around and hugged my school uniform pants to her chest, then buried her face in them, rubbing her cheeks back and forth against the fabric, as if she wanted to soak her entire face in my scent. You think she'd stop there? No, this female figure then turned her greedy hands toward my socks. After a whole day of running around, these white socks I'd been wearing, because of all the sweat, had turned a faint yellowish hue, still carrying a faint sour whiff of foot sweat, mixed with the leathery smell from my sneakers. If it were me, I would have thrown these socks far away to keep the smell from ruining my sleep. But in the eyes of this female figure, it was a completely different story. Without the slightest trace of disgust, she brought the socks up to her delicate nose, then swallowed hard involuntarily, as if what was in front of her wasn't a pair of worn socks, but a delicious, mouth-watering delicacy. After sniffing them dozens of times, she still couldn't get enough. I started to have a dream that picked up right where yesterday's left off. It was about how Tang Sanzang and his 3 disciples journeyed west to fetch the scriptures. I rubbed my sore waist. Why do I still feel no better at all? Could it be that taking it just once isn't enough to see results? I picked up the bottle of Liwei Di Huang pills and checked the instructions. Sure enough, it said 1 course of treatment lasts 2 to 4 weeks. Oh, I see. Looks like I have to keep taking this medicine. After putting the bottle down, I put on my clothes and pants, then picked up my socks and pulled them on. Why do these socks feel so damp? It's like they got soaked in water or something. But there wasn't a single drop of water anywhere around, unlike the usual sandwich and milk. Today's breakfast was something out of the ordinary. On the dining table were 3 shiny garlic oysters and a plate of scrambled eggs with chives, green and yellow, mixed together. What's going on here? Eating this first thing in the morning, I stared dumbfounded at the unusual breakfast in front of me, wondering why Mom had suddenly changed up the menu. These things seem more like dinner food than breakfast. Next to the garlic oysters, there was a note left by Mom. Xing Xing, make sure you eat all of this after you wake up. Don't leave a single bite behind, so you can recover soon. Love, Mom. Oh, it's a nourishing meal, even though it was way too greasy for breakfast. I didn't want to let Mom's kind gesture go to waste. I wolfed it all down in no time flat. Burp, I'm so full. I patted my round, stuffed belly with one hand and opened the front door with the other. Hey, Sing Sing. Good morning. The door had barely opened when a face as beautiful as a celestial maiden's came into my view. The person standing there was none other than my next-door neighbor and childhood sweetheart, the universally adored Bai Xiaoyi. Bai Xiaoyi, why are you up so early today? It's like the sun rising in the west. I stared at the girl in front of me in confusion. Bai Xiaoyi, as if trying to confirm whether she was a real person or some alien imposter. She'd never once waited for me at the door this early before. You're so mean. I can get up early too, you know. Bai Xiaoyi pouted unhappily, acting coy, whining a little. All right, let's head out then. By the way, where's Aunt Liangzi? I glanced over at Bai Xiaoyi's front door, but didn't see that curvy, eye-catching figure of hers standing there. That old hag seems to have gone to some event or other. Left bright and early this morning anyway. Let's not worry about her, okay? I'm sick of her throwing those flirty looks at you all the time. Ding dong, the Line 7 train is arriving shortly. Passengers heading for the direction of XXX. Lucky. Now I can sleep leaning on your shoulder. As soon as the two of us sat down, Bai Xiaoyi clung tightly to my arm, then rested her little head on my shoulder. To anyone watching, we looked like a pair of lovey-dovey young lovers. Hey, Bai Xiaoyi, can you at least try to act a little more proper? Who gets all mushy-gushy this early in the morning? Our schoolmates are here, and didn't you already get your hug earlier? Let go of me already. I'm so sleepy. Xing Xing, I'm gonna take a little nap. Night-night. I really couldn't do anything with that mischievous Bai Xiaoyi, but I didn't have the heart to push her away either. After all, for someone who loved sleeping in as much as she did, getting up this early really must have been a struggle. Her long, thick eyelashes, like tiny brushes, fluttered shut gently. Before long, the soft sound of her shallow breathing could be heard coming from the right side of my shoulder. This time, though, I didn't take out my phone to read a novel. I just sat there in my seat, lost in thought, mulling things over. Surely I won't run into that weird lady on the subway again today, right? After all, I was sitting down this time. Even if she showed up, there's no way she could take advantage of me now. I scanned the entire carriage up and down, but didn't spot anyone who looked like that creepy lady from before, which meant I was now 100% completely safe. I felt a huge wave of relief. Even the air around me seemed to smell fresher all of a sudden. I was just about to mentally start singing a victory song when my left shoulder suddenly felt heavy, as if something had plopped down on it. Wait, Bai Xiaoyi was sleeping on my right shoulder, wasn't she? Then what was this weight on my left side? My neck felt like it was wound up tight like a clockwork spring. As I turned my head slowly to the left almost mechanically, then a woman's face with delicate, perfect makeup came into sight. Unlike that weird lady from before, this woman with the exquisite features looked even younger than Xiaoyi, though she was also wearing a tight uniform. It was a bright, pretty light white style. I stared at her stiffly for a few minutes and noticed she was just like Bai Xiaoyi, fast asleep in a light slumber. Must be because she's worn out from work. After dozing off, this beautiful woman leaned over unconsciously and rested right on my shoulder. Young people these days have no shame at all. How dare he go two-timing like that? An aunt across from me cracked sunflower seeds and pointed fingers at me disapprovingly. Click, a passenger taking photos. Forgot to turn off their flash. Once they saw me looking, they quickly pretended to gaze out at the scenery like nothing happened. Whoa, this guy is a total legend. He looks about the same age as me. Why does he get to have 2 girls clinging to him while I'm stuck being single? Why, it's so unfair. With these 2 gorgeous girls by my sides, drawing all the attention, there was no way Could avoid becoming the center of everyone's gossip. Whatever, out of sight, out of mind, out of earshot, out of care, I simply shut my eyes as well, and followed the two beauties into a light doze. After all, we still had a long ride ahead of us. Taking a little nap wouldn't hurt. But not long after I drifted off, the gorgeous woman resting on my left shoulder slowly fluttered her eyes open. Ding dong, next stop, Zhuiyuan Road. Passengers preparing to alight, please get ready. Xing Xing, wake up quickly. We're almost there. We're here? I rubbed my sleepy eyes and glanced to my left. But the young woman with the delicate makeup was already gone. Let's go, Xiaoyi. We'll wait by the door for the subway to stop. We'll be there in a sec. The words died in my throat mid-sentence. Then, my face filled with shock, I slowly lowered my head, only to find my belt was completely unbuckled for no reason at all. How is this possible? I clearly remembered buckling it properly before I left home. It was still fastened when we got on the train. Why did it suddenly come undone like this? Xiaoyi, did you do this? You're so mean, Xing Xing. I can't believe you'd think I'd do something like that. Sniffles. If it wasn't Xiaoyi, then who could it have been? Could I have sleepwalked or something? Confused, I stepped off the train with Xiaoyi. Whatever, I'll stop overthinking it. School's more important. Miss Li, I like you. A crisp breeze blew across the ground, and bright sunshine bathed the world. On this hopeful, vibrant morning, on the playground of Kaicheng Private High School, a handsome buzzcut jock was confessing his love to the girl he'd admired for ages. That's the ace of our school's basketball team, Senior Xiangping, right? I heard he just won the city basketball championship last month. Really? That's so awesome. And Senior Xiangping is so handsome. I love sporty, sunny guys like him the most. A female student watching the scene gushed with stars in her eyes, like a total fangirl. Xiaoyi and I stood not far from the crowd, each holding a watermelon, watching the show. Who would have thought we'd get a front row seat to a real-life confession? Miss Li, I really like you. Will you be my girlfriend? When Senior Xiangping got no response from Li Xia, he gathered his courage and asked again, his determined eyes filled with hope and nervousness. But just when everyone thought she'd say yes, Li Xia acted like he wasn't even there, coldly stepped around him, and walked straight into the teaching building without looking back. I kind of felt bad for Senior Xiangping. After all, it took real guts to confess in front of so many people. He was a real man for that. But unfortunately, the girl he liked was Li Xia, the so-called ice queen of our grade. She didn't leave him an ounce of dignity. I wondered what kind of guy my classmate would actually like. It was totally impossible to guess. Or maybe Li Xia liked. Images popped into my head of the books she'd bought a couple days ago. Without exception, they were all stories where the proud female lead gets kidnapped by force, resists fiercely at first, swearing never to give in. But since she's not as strong as the guy, she can only... Hey, let's go. Xiaoyi, we should head back to class. I shook off those dirty thoughts and turned toward the teaching building again. But I'd barely taken 2 steps when a girl in a frilly Lolita dress stepped in front of me. Senior Xing Xing, I like you. I glanced to my left, then turned to look to my right. Finally, I pointed at myself in confusion, staring at the girl in front of me. This sweet-voiced Lolita girl, with her cute sheep-like look. Did she just call my name? Yes, Senior Xing Xing. I like you. Please go out with me. The girl clasped her hands in front of her dress, bent forward and confessed earnestly once more. This time I heard every single word loud and clear. This adorable girl in the frilly dress was actually confessing to me. I'd gone from watching the drama to being the drama. I couldn't help but size up the girl in front of me. Her light pink hair was styled into 2 cute pigtails, adorned with a lacy headpiece. Her light pink eyes were big and round, like she was wearing huge colored contacts. She looked just like a life-sized porcelain doll. Who do you think you are? Xing Xing is mine. Before I could even respond, Xiaoyi was the first to lose her cool. She rushed over and clung tightly to my arm, like she was staking her claim in front of this other girl. It's okay, Miss Bai Xiaoyi. I don't mind the 3 of us being together. The Lolita girl dropped another bombshell that left us all stunned. I was totally shocked. What on earth was this girl talking about? No way! Xing Xing is mine and mine alone! I refuse to share him with you. Wait a second, what's your name again? Guye? Oh, Guliang Yue. We're in the same class, Miss Bai Xiaoyi.